What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm your boy NarikChase. In this video, we are going to talk about one of my favorite film franchises, the Predator film franchise. I don't know why I just had a weird brain fart. Anyway, let's get into the video. Now, the Predator jumped onto the scene in 1987 with Arnold Schwarzenegger as the leading role of the film. Completely took Hollywood by storm. Has definitely established itself as one of the most enduring sci-fi action horror series. It has the story essentially follows an alien creature that likes to hunt challenging prey, and each film focuses on this concept, though to varying degrees, different environments, different characters, and to varying degrees of success. Now, in this video, we are going to go down the best and worst, best to worst. We're going to be ranking these films. Now, I have done one previously, but it didn't include Predator Killer of Killers or Predator Badlands. But in this video, we're just going to include those. So, without further ado, let's jump into it, guys. Alright, the Predator franchise. I probably should have read it off this and it came off a lot better. Now, the series primarily is centered on encounters between humans and a fictional species of extraterrestrial trophy hunters known as the Predators or the Yautja. It's a weird name, but it's kind of cool. The first one dropped in 1987, as I said. The second one in 1990. The third one 2010. The fourth one 2018. The prequel in 2020. And then these last two, Predator Killers and Badlands, came out last year in 2025. So, let's get down to talking about these films. Now, what makes these, just as a side note, what makes these films so awesome is the idea of the Predator and humanity coming up against, because on Earth we're the apex species. We hunt everything, we eat everything, like we are the top dogs. And it's cool seeing that kind of be flipped on its head. It's always cool seeing humanity in these fictional capacity and fictional stories where they have to deal with a situation in which they're not the top dog, and they have to use their wits to kind of outmaneuver whatever's hunting them. And Predator is possibly the best kind, because not only are they dealing with other type of hunters, they're dealing with other hunters that can think, that can plan, that can strategize with advanced weaponry. So it makes it a really interesting concept. Now, the first film follows on Schwarzenegger as well as a group of commandos, mercenaries, wherever they are, black ops, and they're in the jungle looking for. They're essentially a rescue crew, but there's more to it than that. And they encounter Predator. The first time we've actually seen Predator on the film. Great film, lots of suspense, lots of good action sequences. One of the cool things about it is the characters actually kind of are really cool as well. It's a really good cast, and it's definitely a movie worth watching. It definitely is one of the best of the series. Then we have 3 years later, the sequel, Predator 2, and it takes the same concept of the Predator, but this time it puts it in the city, and that's and that's kind of one of the things that I do like about Predator 2 is the fact that it is a different environment. That different environment leads to different challenges, leads to different altercations, and it's more of, if you're in the jungle, in the setting of the first film, yes, there are people that live in the jungle, but we never really see them. We see like the military, we see like guerrillas and rebels and stuff like that, and we see those types of people that are used to like combat. But in this, and even in the sequel, you see it's gangsters and cops and even civilians. So it's a completely different vibe. Even if you look at the way the two films look, they have a completely different look, and it is pretty cool. Now, and just as a side note, the film Predator 2, I ended up reading the book Predator Concrete Jungle, which is supposed to be, they're both sequels to the first film. Uh, but I do like the sound of the title of the book. You got Predator 2, and then you got Predator Concrete Jungle, and that's what they call the big city, Concrete Jungle. So I just want to throw that out there. But Danny Glover is the lead this time around, and it's a good cast. It's a lot of fast. This one is much more faster paced. The action is much more faster paced. So at the beginning of the film, things jump off. Like within 5 minutes of the film, the Predator's doing his thing, and we already know what's going on. But also another interesting bit about this film is that the first film is a bit more slower, a bit more suspenseful, and that's not to say that the sequel doesn't have suspense, because it has a lot of suspenseful moments as well. But we get to see the Predator in action, and not only do we get to see it in action, we see it in action in a different way that we didn't see it in the first film. So there is a lot that the sequel has going for it. It's faster paced, and even if you listen to the music much more faster paced. There's a lot of really cool, memorable moments as well. And even though Danny Glover's character Harrigan isn't Black Ops or anything, he is still like a good character. So it's a great film as well. Then we drop down to the next film, Predators, which is the third installment. Now, Predators is a different beast in itself, because Predators does take itself in a completely different direction, but Predators, I have like a love-hate relationship with Predators, because I feel like this could have been better. It's not a bad movie per se. It's just not as good as it could have been, because the story is Adrian Brody's character, can't remember the guy's name, wakes up on an alien planet, and he ends up finding other survivors, and they end up discovering that they are on a game world, and this game world features aliens from across the cosmos, and the Predators are hunting them. uh, the problem with the film is we don't get the sense that this is a completely different world. There's almost no scene in this film that makes us feel like it's a different world. The whole movie should have been them. Okay, I have birthday balloons right there, and they're just like floating around, so you can probably hear it. It just like it wanted to whisper something to my ear. But I'm watching the film, and I'm like, okay, well, this is an alien world. It's supposed to be, these predators are supposed to be dropping all of these different aliens on this planet and hunting them. And we only see like 2 aliens outside of the predators, and predators are controlling one of them. And it's like we never get the sense that this is just a completely alien world. I mean, yeah, that's the one scene they look up and they see the planets and the stuff and all of that, but it's not like they see like the film should have been them navigating this alien world, dealing with other aliens. It could have been it could be intelligent aliens. It could be just mostly wildlife aliens. And but we don't see that. We don't see that one little tree monster thing. And even then, we didn't even see what that thing could do. It's like if like this would be the biggest example. If Kong Skull Island, the military guts to Skull Island, and they don't see nothing. There's no animals there, just Kong. and you'd be like, well, this could have been anywhere. This could have been any location outside of Skull Island. So that's my biggest problem really with this film, and I think that lends to the fact that actually lends to another thing that I wanted. I don't think that the characters had enough time. I think the characters had enough time to be distinct, but I don't think they had enough time to develop together, like grow together, because they're all kind of cutthroat. They're all kind of douchebags, if you want to say. And like, it's just the premise itself is really, really good, but the execution is bad. There's even you know, a moment of a survivor that's been there for a long time that kind of gives them the scoop of what's going on. And I felt like him being there, surviving his first run, would have made for a better movie with him trying to struggle to survive on this planet than them being there and it being scattered the way it was. So, Predators, it's got some good moments in it. The problem with the film is just that it doesn't live up to the promise that it says, because like it's on the alien game world. It should have been a bunch of aliens. It should have basically been like the soldiers on Skull Island fighting these monsters while being hunted by the predators. That would have made for a much more compelling movie, and then it would have done a better job of actually making these characters grow together and learn how to work together and depend on each other. But you know, missed opportunity. So it's still like a decent watch though. And also another thing I want to say, there's a lot of things and there are a lot of lines that's in this film. There are a lot of shots that's in this film. There are a lot of things direction that's in this film that harkens too much to the first film. Certain characters will say certain lines, certain actions, sequences will happen that will feel like the first movie, and that's another notch against it, unfortunately. Then, okay, let's go ahead and talk about The Predator. Now, The Predator takes place back on Earth, and again, this one has a different feel. And in this film, there's basically two predators that come to Earth, one on the run from another one, and this family and these military guys kind of get involved with it. And this movie again has a premise that I think can work, but I think just the execution of it, because there's a technology that basically these two predators, and it's not like really two. Yeah, I mean it is two predators, but the way that it plays off, it just, let me explain it to you. There's a technology that's lost on the planet, and these two predators are trying to get to it. One of them is trying to, but they're both trying to race to it, and it becomes in the possession of the family to basically to find where it's at. Well, the problem with the film to me is it doesn't feel like a war between these two predators, because they don't really. If it would, the movie I think would be much better if it felt like these two predators were going at it and these people were caught in the middle. But it's not really that. It's like, okay, the first antagonist, for the first half of the film, the first predator is the threat, and then the second predator becomes the threat later on in the second half of the film. And I'm like, no, I think this would have been much better if these two predators that's been fighting and fighting and fighting, and these people are caught in the middle. Like, I wish the movie could have been, they had a fight at the beginning of the film, they had a fight at the middle of the film, and they had a fight at the end of the film. And that way, it felt like it would have felt more balanced. It would have felt very more unique. For what we do get, there is this predator there's a storyline in the film that this predator, this new genetically altered predator, uses the DNA of some of its kills, especially the strongest ones, to enhance itself. And at first I had a problem with that, because I was like, well, that just throws the whole predator lore just into a loop. I think it's interesting, but it doesn't fit. But when I read the book, because I did read the movie novelization, I will say that I looked it up. I was like, okay, well, we'll just play it as this. That predator is part of a specific clan that does that, but the overarching culture itself doesn't do that. So that's how I kind of found a bit solace in that. But there's a lot that this film does good, and I feel like this film does try to kind of harken kind of back to the first and second film in some of it. Gary Busey's son is in the film playing kind of the same role that he played in part two, which was that's actually like a cool thing right there. It's like a cool continuation of it. The problem, I did like the action. There are some really good action sequences in this film. There's one cool action sequence where this predator's breaking out of this laboratory. That was actually really cool. It was kind of this fight between these military guys and this big predator. That was actually pretty cool. I think the best way that this film could have really capitalized on its promise is that it should have been these two predators the entire film fighting each other trying to get to this, and these people are just caught in the middle of it. I think that would have worked so much better. I think that would have been a better the action would have felt, it would have felt much better to me. Like, I mean, if you imagine, what if they had this, the government had a super advanced technology in this one place, and then next, these two predators break in from two different areas, and they're just wiping all of these guys out, and they meet up, find that they're both up in there, then they have to fight. Like, that would have been so much cooler. But I mean, we did get a cool predator on predator fight in the previous film, so there is that. But this film, it felt like these are just like interesting premises that they just mess up with the execution. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, honestly, story wise, I don't think this is a good film. The characters really didn't get to connect with them that much. Although there is one character that actually is pretty likable, and that is the black guy who shot himself in the head. They tried to kill himself. Like, that guy was actually pretty cool. He was actually a really deep character. And then there was action. It just the action is kind of, I guess you could say, what makes this film stand out more. It makes up for a lot of the writing problems, but overall, I think it's okay. I think it's an okay film. Now, this film, the next film was very surprising, and it's Prey. Now, Prey is a prequel to Predator, and this story takes place in I believe, it's during the Civil War. I think it's during the Civil War. It's during that time period, like the Indians, and it was during that time period. But I think it's during the Civil War. I'm not sure. Anyways, so there's this predator that comes to Earth, and there's this girl that's in this native tribe, and she ends up finding signs that there's something dangerous out there, and she's trying to hunt it to see what it is. And this predator is walking, doing this thing, running around, wiping people out. And this movie was good. This was one of the best sequels, like prequel, but it's good. The story actually has a bit heart to it. It's, in terms of story, I think this is probably the deepest in terms of just like story and heart, and you know, I think this is probably the deepest film. But Naru is actually a really likable character. She's different from most of the other characters because she's not like, I mean, she is like a bit of a warrior in a different time, but she's kind of a warrior, but she's not like Arnold. She's not like, like, even if you say Harrigan ain't a warrior or anything, he's still a dude that has a gun, and he's been trained in violence and stuff like that. She has a disadvantage in terms of the time period that she's in, the weaponry that she's using, and the fact that she's kind of a slim female going up against this giant predator. But the film was good. This film does something that none of the other films I realized upon watching it again, and you actually get to see the predator hunt animals. So I would like to see more stuff like that, and as well as humans and stuff like that. But the fights in the film are actually really good. The story itself is actually really, really good. There are a lot of really good moments. You get to see a predator fight a bear. That was actually really cool. And you know what I'm saying? I thought the characters were actually pretty cool. I thought the setting was cool. Now, what made me really interested in watching this film, there was a 2017 Predator book called Predator If It Bleeds. And in it, it's a short story, like 16 short stories. Each one is different encounters, different time periods, different cultures, different places. And it opened my mind to, like, yes, I would like to see the predator during this time period in this kind of environment, on a spaceship. Yeah, like, and this film truly capitalizes on that premise, And not only that, in the second film, it was stated that the predators have been coming to Earth. They've come to Earth before, and this film definitely solidifies that. But this is a surprisingly good film. A lot of what the previous two lacked, this film has in spades. It has just is just a great film. Now, let's go down to the next one. Okay, now this is the ones we didn't have last time. Predator, Killer of Killers. This film is basically what I had said with the book, The Predator If It Bleeds. But it's a main overarching story, but it's three. It takes place in 4 time periods. The fourth one is the main story, but it takes place in feudal Japan. It takes place during the Viking era, and it takes place during, I believe, either World War One or World War Two. I want to say World War Two, and it takes the premise of, hey, what happens if a predator is during this time period? What happens if a predator is during this time period? What happens if a predator is during this time period? And it's really good. It's actually really good. Now there are some things that I do question about it, such as there are some moments in this film where a certain character, okay, the predator is there, and I'm like, okay, you're like, okay, cool. There's a castle full of guys. The predator's gonna go in there, wipe them out, and then the heroes are going to go into the castle, realize these people get wiped out, and then fight the predator. It's never really that. It's always the people go in, they wipe out the opposition, then the predator shows up, and I'm like, ugh. I would have liked the predator to kill everybody, and you fight the predator, kind of like a twist. But anyways, I did like the characters. I thought the stories were actually pretty cool. I did like how the stories were different, how the Viking story was different from the story, the feudal Japan story, and even the confrontation of the in the World War II, where it's like this guy's not fighting the predator one on one. He's fighting them in the air. They're having this big dog fight. And that was actually pretty cool. I think the Viking one I had a little bit of trouble kind of believing, because there's the woman in it. She looks older, but she's not. She's got to be like her 30s maybe, because she did have a kid. But just the way she looks older. And she's sitting here just doing this thing with 2 shields, which is actually pretty cool. Her fighting style. And she just wiping out all of these dudes. And I was like, no. I'm like, that was kind of like, I was like, this woman just sitting here just wiping out all of these dudes. I'm like, come on. She got dudes that are bigger than her with her that's not doing that. And I was like I said, I did like her fighting style because of the shields and how she used them. But I wished it kind of came off a big girl power ish. But let go train. So it is a good film though, to be honest. It was a cool segment. Even how they were fighting the predators, each predator came with different technology and a different fighting style, and looked different too. So like I said, I really appreciated that. The ending I thought was a little. I'm not disappointed at it. The story, just what it all led to. I thought it was going to be something else. I guess it wasn't a bad thing. I just thought it was going to be something else. But it was still pretty cool as well. And then we get, breadcrumbs for a potential sequel to that film, which I hope does come out. But I also thought, honestly, I thought this was actually a pretty good one as well. Like I said, a lot of action, bloody deaths, completely bloody. You see a lot of people die. But it was actually pretty cool. And then we have Predator Badlands. Now, Predator Badlands is a bit of a mixed bag, because initially, when I reviewed it, I really did like the film. Just came out the movie theaters and everything, and it was a lot of fun with it. Though I did have some issues with the film, and then now, kind of looking back on it, I still enjoyed the film, but there are some issues that I do want to address in the film. Now, in the film itself, it's following this one Yautja that's weaker, smaller than the other ones, and now he's trying to prove himself by going to this one planet to take out this one creature that these other predators can't seem to take out, and thereby solidifying his honor and his place within his society and his family. And there was a lot of cool things that was there with the film. One of the things is the predator's relationship with his brother, the Yautja's and his brother's relationship. I wish the focus of the film, the whole focus of the film, was them two relying on each other on this deadly planet, trying to kill this creature. And if you say, "Hey," and I'm just going to spoil it for her, the brother dies at the towards the beginning of the film. Not at the beginning, but they do a great job of showcasing this relationship between these two brothers. And I'm cool with that because I've read the books, I read the comics, I know the lore, so I know that they have those familiar ties and relationships as well. But I wish the film would have focused on them trying to survive on this planet. That would have made the movie so much better. You will see a bit more into the culture. Now the android, now when the predator gets to this planet, ends up being saved by this android chick. The android, can't remember her name. Now I did like the android. And I thought she did. I thought, a bit of a comedy relief, and I did like the relationship between the two, and eventually how they do develop, as well as the underlying theme of family. I do like that, but I think that it was been so much stronger if they'd have took her character out, or even possibly just kept her as the evil sister with the other sister, because she's a twin set, and her twin sister is with the bad guys. So I would have been cool to been like those two would have been running the bad guys, and then these two Yautja would have been trying to survive as trying to so that way it'd been kind of like this brothers versus sister thing. Now the film, this is my biggest problem with the film. Well, one of my biggest problems with the film. This planet is supposed to be super deadly. It's supposed to be the worst planet you can go on, and it's hard for a predator to go down there and survive, especially with this giant monster that's And I've read the comics. There was a creature I read the books. There was a creature that it was hard. It's super hard to kill. A predator won't even mess with it. Super hard to kill. I'm not sure if this is the incarnation of that character, but maybe it is. But when it gets to the planet, it's the same problem I had with After Earth. It's the same problem I had with Predators. This planet, I was expecting it to be like non-stop action, non-stop suspense, non-stop. This Yautja is on the ropes the entire time. Now, when he first gets there, he has all of this equipment, and usually with stuff like that, when somebody goes to an area with all this type of equipment, I would like to see them battle and lose the equipment throughout the entire journey. So that way, by the time they get to the final stretch, they ain't got nothing left but their wits and their their strength and their wits. But in this, he loses it in almost the first 3 minutes, and then you left with some cool stuff. Like, I like the technology, just I don't think that the film allowed us time to actually see how skilled he is, which you do to a certain extent. But given all of the fights and stuff that happened in the film, I would have liked him to have had that stuff until he ran out of ammo or whatever, or it got damaged, or it got lost in fight number 6. But I didn't feel like this film like he was on the ropes. Initially, when he shows up and those branch things attack him, I was like, okay, cool. But then after that, you see him walking long stretches without seeing anything. And it's like, no, I want to see him constantly. If this is supposed to be a deadly planet like this, it's like if you go back and you watch those things where they say dinosaurs ruled the earth and everything. You see dinosaurs everywhere. Even if they're not all carnivores and stuff, you see dinosaurs everywhere, big, small, flying, swimming. You see them everywhere. I want to see that. I want to see that this planet is truly deadly. There are some areas that you can't go to. There is one scene where there's this behemoth thing tearing through this razor grass, that seems actually pretty cool. And I would have liked to see more of those, like more of that big thing. There's a giant, I don't know, mouth tentacle monster in the trees. I would have liked to see more of those things. There are these like poisonous snakes. I would have liked to see more of those snakes, worms, wherever they were. There is a lot the film does bring up, but it's like you never truly get the sense that this is like him on the ropes, especially when the girl shows up because she does help him. It just, it's like this, and then it was just, and then the way that they did the androids and stuff. In all honesty, I don't mind the androids. I do feel like it's a cop out not to have like blood and gore and stuff, but that wasn't properly done right because the androids are stronger than humans. So I felt like the androids should have been much more of a threat to the predator. And again, there's a scene that the sister android, the good one, there's this scene where she's the whole movie she's cut in half. And she's trying to get to her legs. There's a scene where her legs mysteriously start walking toward her, and I mean, no, the legs start walking toward her as a tracker to figure out where she's at, and she ends up killing these two other androids with half her bodies. Like that scene was just stupid. And even the ending fight, the evil sister android showed herself to be very capable, and I wanted to see a fight between those two. But the fight that we got is literally one of the most stupidest, just dumbest fights. It's like they looked at aliens and was like, okay, let's copy aliens. They put the android chick in this giant mech suit like Ripley against the alien queen, and I was like, this is dumb. She already shows that she's pretty brutal and she can possibly fight. I would have liked to have seen the android go up against a Yautja. That would have been pretty cool. So, but by the end of the film, you feel like that he has become very capable as a hunter, and he's learned what it means to be family, and not just because you're Yautja that doesn't make you family. There is a bit more nuance to it, but that's generally what it is. I liked it, but I felt like the film would have benefited so much better if they took out the android chick or just left her, consolidated that chick to be one villain, and again, do like I said with the Predators film. The a whole movie should have been them on the two Yautja brothers together on the ropes while fighting all of this crazy wildlife, learning everything they can without their technology, or at least most of it, and then on top of it, have the the androids chasing them the entire time. That would have been a much better film. It would receive millions. And I say that it's a bad film because it's not like bad. It's just the writing's bad, but it's still like enjoyable. So now we'll go ahead and now I don't know if because I think when we did the original movies, I don't think we did Alien versus Predator. I kind of don't want to. I just want to focus just basically on these films, so I'm not going to add those to it. So I will say this: this is how I'm going to rank them, and I probably wrote this down and ranked them different ways, but I'm just going to go ahead and redo it. In fact, I believe I actually did write this down, how I ranked them, because I was very concerned about. Oh, I put it on my website. That's what it was. Now we're going to pull it up and we're going to look at how I rank these films. That's one good thing I do like about my website. Okay, so check this out. This is how I ranked the movies. I ranked them as such. Worst film, not really worst, but you get what I'm saying. Coming in at number 7, The Predator. Coming in at number 6, Predators. Coming in at number 5, Predator Badlands. Coming in at number 4, Prey. Coming in at number 3, Killer of Killers. Coming in at number 2, Predator. And coming in at number 1, best film to me is Predator 2. So that's how I rank those. That's my best to worst list. Guys, in the comment section below, there's a lot about this franchise I could go over, but not in this video. We're just going to be ranking the films. You got my initial thoughts on the movies, what I thought worked and what I didn't work, and why now, did I particularly to state why I picked them when I picked them? No, but you did get the gist of it based on what I said initially before the ranking. Having said that, do you agree with this ranking? Do you not agree? How would you rank these films? Which one's the best, which one's the worst? Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel. And we'll definitely catch you guys later.